Good evening, Xavier Guild. Do I still call you Cadet Guild?
Not officially yet, not till our day.
Okay, very good. So, can you introduce yourself real quick, please?
Yeah, my name's Xavier Guild. I am just graduating high school and heading off into the Army, going to West Point. Um, I've been a Sea Cadets since a while now. I actually lost track.
2021 is when you started.
2021. Yeah, I figured it was right
Yeah.
after COVID. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, it's a few years. Um, and yeah,
So, congratulations on your acceptance to West Point.
thank you.
I understand you had a couple other opportunities at academies as well.
Yeah. Originally, the reason I actually joined Sea Cadets was I had my heart set on the Naval Academy. And I ended up getting accepted to the Naval Academy. I got accepted to the Naval Academy, the Merchant Marine Academy, and West Point. Ultimately, a couple of my individual desires I found aligned more with the opportunities presented at West Point than at the Naval Academy. However, my initial goal of joining the Sea Cadets in an effort to prepare myself better for the Naval Academy paid off dividends by evidenced by the fact that I got accepted.
Well, that's fantastic. It's not easy to get a single Academy nomination, let alone three. So, congratulations again. So you joined the Sea Cadets as part of this mission or this plan to get into Academy.
Yeah, when I was looking at what the academies required out of their prospective students, they want people who were academically excellent, physically ready, but also with that character and leadership component, as well as people who've had like real world practical experiences. Now, the academic component was covered by my school stuff, so I didn't really have to
Mhm.
worry about doing any more of that. However, the physical fitness, I joined a sport, so I was trying to
Sure.
stay physical that way. But I really needed something that would be able to develop my character and leadership abilities. So I found the Sea Cadets because I figured what better way to develop military leadership and character than to join a subsidiary military program that's designed
Sure.
to future military leaders, especially since I wanted to go into the Navy and the Sea Cadets is under the Navy. So I thought it was perfect. And um, through Sea Cadets, I've been able to do a lot of definitely very unique things that I wouldn't have otherwise been able to do that have built me in ways that I definitely think paid off. There was multiple times during the interviews for the academies that that things I did in the Naval Academy were directly brought up as both successes and failures. One I routinely bring up is my experience at RT. So RT is the recruit training, which is basically
Yes.
boot camp, or as much as they can get away with boot camp for kids ranging from 12 to 18. Um,
It's like a mini boot camp is what I call
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yes.
it varies. But that first day, it's very real when those Marine instructors come in and yell at you. They
Yeah.
don't hold bar. Now, people's experiences vary, but I personally struggled a lot with like specific types of detail and focusing.
Sure.
And I was punished for that there. I was also confronted with a very real reality that I just wasn't physically in shape enough. I did not have a fantastic
Oh,
time on the PRT. I barely passed the mile. But more importantly, it taught me that like it wasn't as bad as I was feared it was going to be.
okay.
Um, Not because it was easy, but because I wasn't as weak mentally as I thought I was. I think putting yourself through those experiences, which are which are just offered in abundance in Sea Cadets, really teaches you that a lot of the things that you're scared of doing aren't as scary as you thought. Um,
Sure.
More than that, by doing them, you're a stronger person when you come out of them, and incidentally, you can do even cooler stuff. And I've been given a lot of those opportunities in Sea Cadets.
Fantastic. I personally love recruit training. I love seeing young kids come in that may not have ever left the house before, and they're
Yes,
shaking, they're nervous, they have no idea what to expect. They're being yelled at, they're being thrown into a room, and within 10 days, they are completely different.
absolutely.
It is really fun to see that camaraderie and that teamwork builds too, right? Because you are dependent on the people around you to your left and to your right as people are coming at you every day for doing things differently, right?
It's also one of those few times where like I guess young men specifically are given stricter expectations of the actual proposition of punishment. Say what you
Yes.
want about school, sit down and be quiet is a thing, and they'll send you to the office. But I'll tell you right now, not that I was punished in school, but any of the punishments I saw in school, very few were as miserable as. I think we ended up doing 500 arm circles, um, and that teaches you a lesson, especially when you aren't the one who made the mistake. So
Sure. But it was still a good experience. RT was a good experience for you.
I learned a bunch. Actually, I credit my RT experience with so I applied for the NSLI-Y, which is the National Security Language Initiative for
Ah,
Youth program, which allowed me to travel to Taiwan to study Chinese. 6 weeks, fully paid for by the Defense Department. Put on through college. The professors took us out there and helped us really develop our Chinese skills. I wasn't with my parents. I was with 21 other students from across the United States. And it was more exciting than fearful. And I credit that with, as weird as it is being in another country, and I certainly had the traditional being actually halfway across the other world, have definitely to deal with some of those problems. However, I think it was definitely not as bad as it otherwise would have been, because as bad as like a 16-hour plane ride is, or as, let's say, being embarrassed because you're in a McDonald's and you can't like order the food you want to order is, it's not as bad as those 500 arm circles we had to do. Nor is it as scary as when 3 Marines walk in with arms the size of your thighs, ready to like yell at you.
That's
I definitely,
fantastic.
and especially at such a young age. I mean, I think you can go like as soon as like what? I went at 14, which was older than a good chunk of them.
Sure.
Younger than some, but
Yeah.
still, I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's just the beginning. Like that's the first thing you have to do before you can even get to the cool trainings, to quote unquote cool, right?
What I'd like to see is these kids that I knew struggled in RT, that were intimidated by RT, got out of RT, and are now staffing RT somewhere else
Yes.
because they have those life lessons. They went through it. They know what people are going through, what's expected of them, and they should be able to lead by example.
It built a genuine level of confidence because like
I'm sure.
you did something, right? This isn't something, and you did something optionally, right? Like when you're 12, 13, 14, all the stuff you do is generally stuff you're kind of forced to do. Now there's some exceptions, right? Like maybe sports, but like a lot of kids are just forced into sports until they're in high school
Sure.
anyway. But you chose to do this, and you can tap out anytime at RT. You can go to somebody and be like, "I'm done."
Yeah.
But you didn't. You made it through all 9, 10 days if it's winter, or 14 days if it's summer. I don't know. So
I've seen cadets try to quit, and they're convinced they're going to quit.
mhm.
And to see their peers, the people around them, say, "No, stick with this. We'll do this together. Just stay one more night,
Mhm.
and then one more night, and then one more night." And next thing you know, they're graduating. That is really fun to watch in RT
It
and all
is.
trainings. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Are there any particular leaders or instructors in RT or other trainings that you remember from Sea Cadets or could speak to?
I mean, I think all the leaders in Cruiser Milwaukee have been kind of fantastic. Obviously, I think it's pretty important to acknowledge that it's a completely volunteer position. Like you guys aren't getting paid, and you've put on some. I mean, having to put on 16 hours of activities for students on your own free time with how busy life is an incredible demand. And there's a lot of really cool stuff we've done. For practical life stuff, like I remember we had the banking guys come in, and we got these
Yeah.
partners, and we got to look at like how to properly manage finances. Um, to when we had and I'm blanking on his name, but he came in and he helped demonstrate to us how to clear rooms.
Oh, yes. Room clearing.
Yep,
Yeah.
room clearing. He worked in a tactical form of law enforcement in the military that helped with like making sure you have with like hostage security, or basically engaging in enclosed spaces where you need to shoot the bad guys and not hit the people you don't want to hit.
Yeah.
Learning how to do that was a fun one. Give us these little plastic guns and had us
Mhm.
use those. And like just individual events like that all had to be put on and organized by, I think, the group of Cruiser Milwaukee leaders. So that was the main
Well,
for me.
if we didn't enjoy it, we wouldn't be doing it.
but we still very much appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And you were in my cybersecurity class. Thank you for joining that.
I was. I definitely recommend it. Take it. Even if you don't think you're a cybersecurity nerd, like I don't know if I'm doing stuff in cybersecurity. I probably doubt it. However, I definitely have a new appreciation for the technical know-how that goes behind a computer. Goodness gracious, are some of the skills there that are required incredibly complex.
It touches everybody,
It's
right? It could be, I'm going to my doctor and I have to worry about uh, healthcare information being secure and private. Anything that I do, um, online banking, right? We're all digitally touched, and having that knowledge of what goes on in the background and seeing what it takes to defend those is important. So thank you for joining that training.
yeah.
So
Also,
as far as, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it also like individually it taught me just like the individual security weaknesses for each of the platforms between Microsoft and Linux because we work with both of them. And although Linux is probably less of an intuitive system to work with than Microsoft, I found out that Linux was a lot harder to get into and a lot more customizable.
Absolutely.
So personally, I've had to seriously sit back and go, do I really want to learn this system to protect my personal items? And I personally think yes. Obviously, I'm going to have to do that when I have some free time here in these next like couple weeks before I head off.
Sure.
But it's definitely been something I've had to consider, and I would never have considered it if I didn't go to that training.
Well, fantastic. You did a fantastic job in training. And by the way, the more you get into the activities in West Point or wherever, you will see that cybersecurity will play a factor in everything.
Every military academies class I've looked at all have cybersecurity as a required core curriculum class.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. So how do you manage your life balance? You had a lot going on. I think you were also an Eagle Scout, correct?
Yes, I'm an Eagle Scout. I was in Scouts for a decade, 11 years before I aged out. So joined in first grade before Lions was a thing. Otherwise, I would have joined as a Lion. Did Cub Scouts, then Boy Scouts. Spent a lot of time in the Scouts. I think life balance is less about what other people tell you your life balance should be and more about what you think your balance should be.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wise words.
I like being at Sea Cadets. I liked doing Boy Scouts. I liked going to my swim team. And I liked some classes at school. So sure, I'm not I'm not hanging out with as many friends or I'm not watching as much TV, but I'm still enjoying what I'm doing. And like you just need to find ways. So like I joined church groups, right? Because I needed leadership experience in organizations, right? Well, I joined some church groups. I made some friends that way, got some nice leadership experiences, and genuinely enjoyed my time. I obviously Boy Scouts, Sea Cadets, you make friends there. And although I'm technically there and I'm technically resume padding by doing activities that people like to see, you're also enjoying yourself. Right. And I still have plenty of time to play some video games here and there, right? I have way too many hours on some video games. But once you really get into these two, you find a lot of the things that people say you need to balance your life around. Like, oh, but you don't sit down and like relax enough. You don't watch enough TV. You find out that like a lot of your video games are boring, like compared to half the cool stuff you do, right? Like when like after I got back from Taiwan, it just wasn't as video games were just like less cool, like just straight up. And that wasn't because I achieved some sort of enlightenment, but it is when you do more things in life, you realize that there are cooler things to strive towards than your video games. Not that video games are bad. Like I still play Civilization 6 on the side, which is definitely not a fantastic habit, but hey, it's mine. And other things. Like obviously you still gotta be important, spend time with your family. But I think it's different for everybody. And the sooner you realize that there isn't some one size fits all balance, so to speak.
Sure.
The better.
I have to note this too. How far did you drive to come to drill? Or in other words, what time did you leave in the morning to make it to drill on time?
So initially, up until 2023, my mother lives in Milwaukee, so I would spend the weekend with her. However, once she moved down to where I live now, I didn't have that connection. So it would usually range from if I went with another cadet, so we tried to carpool. That cadet lived in Shawano. I would either spend the 3 hours from my house or the 3.5 driving to their house in the morning, and then from their house to Milwaukee, which was an early morning, usually 3:30 a.m.
Sure.
We get an Airbnb, but I always thought it was worth it. Chilling out in an Airbnb is kind of fun, especially with people you enjoy hanging out with. And I'm an early morning person. 3:30 is a little early, but
That's a little early for anybody. Yeah.
but it was fine. You just went to bed early the night before, or you tried to.
Sure. Well, it was noted and appreciated. So I want to close this up a little bit with a quick question. If a friend was considering joining the Sea Cadets, what advice would you have for him?
I would ask them why they want to join, and I don't think there's a wrong answer, but I think you gotta have that idea of why behind what you're doing to get the most out of the organization. If you're joining because you want to do cool things, that's a good reason, because there's plenty of cool things you can do in Sea Cadets. They have the SEAL training, they have the dock training where you have to carry around emergency. Sure. I forgot what it's called, but it's really cool.
Field ops.
Field ops. Thank you. They have scuba training. You can go sit on a sub. You have cyber training. You have like everything.
Maritime interdiction.
Absolutely. If you're even if you're like, I want to see what the military's like, you get a lot of that like cultural ethos, and you get to learn how to put on the stuff. You get to learn how to do some basic movements. You get to learn the commands. And when you go to RT, you get to feel what it's like to be put in those situations. And that's a good reason too. Just have your own personal reason for doing it. And then take advantage of every opportunity presented. It's a fantastic organization with a lot of opportunities. Plenty of scholarships to do plenty of stuff. I know I didn't see this until later, and it actually frustrates me. But if you're like a petty officer, you can do a travel program every year.
Absolutely.
I think it's fully paid for. Like I'm 90% sure. Yeah, you want to
there's very few out-of-pocket expenses with
I think you have to pay for your like souvenirs you want to buy there.
Yeah. You may have to pay your way to the airport.
Yeah.
Right.
But the plane tickets are covered. But you get to go to like Korea or basically places with Navy bases like out of the country. It's
right.
That's something I wish I took advantage of. And that's just because I just didn't know it existed in time. So
yeah,
you're gonna join for a reason you believe in, and then find all the opportunities and take advantage of them.
Fantastic answer. So it's been an honor and a privilege to have you as part of Cruiser Milwaukee and as a Sea Cadet. You represented the program very well. Congratulations again on your West Point acceptance, and we're looking forward to seeing a fantastic career out of you.
It's been an honor and privilege to be in Cruiser Milwaukee.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.